President Trump has claimed an infamous Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua, is overwhelming police in multiple U.S. cities.
A Venezuelan gang that started from a failed railway project is now being called one of the most dangerous criminal networks in the world, and they've already made it to Times Square, New York. The DEA just shut them down in Florida. Let's get into it. This is the moment federal authorities moved against Tren de Aragua in Texas during the fall of 2024. An apartment complex was raided, leading to the arrest of 20 members of the gang. The group had occupied a vacant building and used threats and intimidation to control it. The investigation began when local residents reported suspicious activity and armed men patrolling their apartment complexes as if they owned them. Authorities later discovered the gang had transformed the location into a base for drug and trafficking operations. This was a strategy they had repeated in other places before law enforcement caught on. But the crackdown did not stop there. By March of 2025, the net widened with a coordinated federal operation that struck at the heart of the gang's American presence. Over 300 arrests were made across multiple states, marking one of the largest operations against a foreign gang in recent U.S. history. One of the most notable arrests was that of Jesus Miguel Barreto Lezama, a 29-year-old Venezuelan national who had settled in Houston, Texas. Authorities charged him with conspiring to bring more than 5 kilograms of cocaine into the United States from Venezuela and Colombia. His role was not minor. Investigators described him as a central figure who had orchestrated shipments, which revealed his leadership within Tren de Aragua's drug network. Federal agents had been tracking his movements for months, building a case that connected him to multiple trafficking routes spanning from South America directly into Florida and Texas. At the same time, another blow was dealt hundreds of miles away in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Briley Jesus Bolera Farias, a 32-year-old Venezuelan, was taken into custody and charged alongside Lezama. Their simultaneous arrests sent a clear signal. The United States was now targeting not just street-level operatives, but the men believed to be running major parts of the organization. By combining witness statements with surveillance evidence and financial tracking, investigators were able to link multiple Tren de Aragua cells directly to coordinated drug trafficking operations across state lines. They also matched specific dates and amounts with transaction records, proving a sophisticated criminal enterprise. Riley was killed while jogging at the University of Georgia in February 2024. Jose Ibarra, charged with her murder, was later confirmed by Department of Homeland Security sources as a Tren de Aragua member. For investigators, this was not the slow buildup usually seen when international gangs enter the United States. It was sudden, violent, and carried out with precision. So what makes Tren de Aragua different from the gangs already operating in America? According to a former director with United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, their methods stand apart. The official explained that their use of violence, especially through extortion and assaults, far exceeds what is normally seen. Unlike most gangs that try to avoid attention, Tren de Aragua does the opposite. They show no concern about being noticed by police and make little effort to hide their activities. That defiance has reached a disturbing level. Intelligence reports revealed that leaders of the gang recently approved direct attacks on police officers. For most organized groups, targeting law enforcement is considered too risky. It invites heavy crackdowns and federal investigations. But for Tren de Aragua, the rules are different. Remember, their roots trace back to Venezuelan prisons where intimidation and brutality shaped their rise. Violence is not just a tool for them, it is the foundation of their survival. The reach of Tren de Aragua has grown so wide that even officials in Washington are paying close attention. A recent Homeland Security memo revealed that the gang has spread into at least 16 states, from California and Nevada across to Maryland and Delaware. Reports have already confirmed activity in places like Colorado, Tennessee, and New York. In Colorado, their tactics shocked entire neighborhoods. Residents in Aurora began speaking of armed men patrolling apartment complexes as if they owned them. Security footage later confirmed those fears, showing gang members knocking on doors and demanding protection money disguised as extra rent. Those who dared to resist faced brutal consequences. Several tenants were stabbed, sending waves of fear through the community and forcing some families to abandon their homes altogether. The same pattern soon appeared in New York, only on a much larger scale. Authorities confirmed that Tren de Aragua was recruiting heavily from migrant shelters, embedding themselves in all 5 boroughs. City officials warned that the gang's sudden rise could fuel a spike in robberies, assaults, and knife attacks across the city. Then came the incident that pushed them into national headlines. 2 police officers responding to a disorderly conduct call in Times Square were ambushed by roughly 14 gang members. The officers were beaten and kicked in plain view of stunned bystanders. 7 suspects were taken into custody, yet to the shock of many, all were released without bail. That decision sparked outrage and raised urgent questions about deportation policies and whether authorities were prepared for what might come next. Behind the scenes, law enforcement now fears something even more dangerous. Federal officials warned that Tren de Aragua may try to align with groups like MS-13 to expand their drug trade. Fear spreads quickly when a criminal network finds new ways to profit from violence, and Tren de Aragua has mastered that strategy. Their presence in the United States is not only about numbers, but about how they operate. One of their most effective methods is deceptively simple. Members walk the streets grabbing phones or purses directly from people's hands. What may seem like a random robbery is actually part of a larger system. Within minutes, those devices are used to drain entire bank accounts through fake transactions that move money between the United States and South America. Once emptied, the phones are shipped to Colombia, where they are resold for additional profit. It is a business model built on speed, intimidation, and international connections. Yet theft and fraud are only the surface of their reach. The violence they bring to American soil mirrors the brutality that made them infamous across Latin America. In Texas, a man who worked with the gang paid the ultimate price. He was abducted along with his 2 children. While the kids were spared, he was executed with a bullet to the back of his head and left on the roadside. Acts like this are not random. They are calculated moves to cement control. Once cells of the gang settled in the United States, they began carving out space in local criminal economies. Their method of sending a message was as chilling as it was effective. Rivals sometimes found dismembered bodies delivered to their doorsteps, packed inside trash bags. Even police officers have not been spared. In Queens, New York, 2 officers came under fire. One survived only because his protective vest absorbed the bullet. Federal authorities had already made close to 200 arrests tied to Tren de Aragua by December of 2024, spread across 22 states. But gang experts warned this only scratched the surface. What complicated matters further was the ongoing fight over sanctuary cities, a debate so political that it created cracks between local jurisdictions and federal agencies. Those cracks gave the gang the perfect cover to expand. An immigration officer speaking under the condition of anonymity explained that in sanctuary states and cities, information simply stops flowing. Local police can arrest gang members, but immigration authorities never receive the details. Without detainers, suspects often slip back onto the streets. That lack of data leaves communities vulnerable, with the problem always one step ahead of the system. The moment came when pretending Tren de Aragua was just another criminal outfit was no longer possible. Investigations by Homeland Security revealed that more than 1,000 of its members were already operating inside the United States. That number may seem small compared to America's population, but criminologists have long noted a troubling pattern. A small fraction of offenders, often around 5%, can account for half of the crime in a community. Apply that math to Tren de Aragua, and the picture becomes chilling. A compact but ruthless organization was able to destabilize entire regions through a mix of violence, fear, and precision. This was not simply a nuisance for police to manage. It was an organized, disciplined, and ruthless force. The response came on January 20th, 2025, President Trump's first day of his second term. He signed an executive order initiating the designation of Tren de Aragua and other criminal organizations as foreign terrorist organizations. The designation officially took effect on February 20th, 2025, making them the first South American gang to receive this classification. The impact of such a move was immediate. Any known member of the gang was now subject to the toughest immigration laws. They became inadmissible, deportable, and barred from any form of legal status. Sanctuary cities could no longer shield them because federal counterterrorism laws overpowered local rules. If someone tied to the group was arrested, immigration and customs enforcement requests had to be honored. But Washington did not stop at paperwork and designations. The strategy escalated into something far more aggressive, crossing into the realm of military power. On September 2nd, 2025, American forces struck a boat in the southern Caribbean. Intelligence suggested the vessel was carrying gang members involved in narcotics trafficking. The strike destroyed the boat and left 11 dead. This operation was not isolated. It unfolded as part of a wider naval buildup in the region. The United States deployed 3 Aegis-class destroyers, the USS Gravely, the USS Jason Dunham, and the USS Sampson. Alongside them came additional warships carrying 4,500 personnel, including more than 2,000 Marines focused on counter-narcotics missions. The message was unmistakable. Tren de Aragua was no longer seen as an issue for police departments or local courts to handle. Operation Summer Heat, launched by the FBI in 2025, deployed over 100 personnel in coordination with local and federal partners. The mission extended beyond arrest to dismantling drug trafficking channels, seizing illegal firearms, and pursuing gang members across multiple states. Authorities have said this is not just about fighting crime, but about adjusting to a new category of threat. The administration expanded its efforts even further through the Department of Homeland Security. Joint Task Force Alpha widened its reach beyond the southwest and maritime borders, extending operations to the northern frontier as well. This task force brings together state, federal, and local agencies to specifically target smuggling and human trafficking tied to Tren de Aragua. Despite claims from gang members that they were operating legitimate businesses, investigators found overwhelming evidence linking them to violent crimes, drug trafficking, and human smuggling operations. The Florida operation alone resulted in the seizure of over $2 million in cash, dozens of illegal firearms, and multiple kilograms of narcotics. As a result, federal authorities have opened multiple RICO investigations into Tren de Aragua operations across the United States. The gang's leadership structure has been severely damaged, and hundreds of members now face deportation proceedings. The case remains active, with investigators continuing to track remaining cells and prevent the gang from rebuilding its American network. What started as arrests in Florida has revealed a coordinated federal strategy to dismantle one of the most dangerous criminal organizations to ever operate on U.S. soil. Now, before you leave, just don't forget to give this video a like, smash that subscribe button, and also ring that notification bell while you're down there.